Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So this morning I'm going to be working on this 30 plus foot Carver. This boat has two 5.8 liter marine gasoline engines in it. I'm going to be working on the port engine, and I'm going to be replacing the exhaust manifold and risers on that side. There's the owner of the boat was told that there was a issue with them, leakage and whatnot, and the recommendation was to get them replaced. So he has purchased everything that I need to do that, and that's what I'm doing this morning. So it should be pretty simple. Everything over there looks like it's relatively easy to get to, aside from the outboard side of that motor. That exhaust manifold might be a little bit tougher to get to because of that tank. But other than that, it should be pretty straightforward. We'll undo the hoses for the exhaust, and then unbolt the risers, and then pull the spark plugs off, pull the exhaust off, clean all the gasket surfaces, reinstall everything, torque it down, and that'll be it. So hopefully pretty straightforward. But as you guys know, if you've worked on anything marine related, there's the corrosion and rust potential that could make this job last 3 times as long. So hopefully we don't run into any of that. All right, well, I'm breathing a little bit hard, but I ended up getting it. So as you guys can see, that's pretty typical we see with risers on these boats. Pretty rusted out, probably not as efficient as they once were. So it's probably a good thing he's changing it out. If this is what they look like, you can imagine what the passages look like inside the exhaust manifold too. So probably a good thing. I ended up having to disconnect it from here to give myself a pivot to pull it off of there, and then I kind of shoved it in the back. So now I've got much clearer, much easier access to get to the exhaust manifold bolts. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this fitting off right here. This is a 90-degree pipe fitting that goes to this cooler line right here. The reason I'm doing it now is because it's still bolted to the engine and I have leverage. If I pull the manifold off now, I'll have to put it in a vise or something like that to pull this fitting off. So it's good to do it before you pull the whole thing out if the new manifold doesn't come with that and this plug here on the side. It's handy to do all that now and then remove it. The next step after I've gotten the riser off is the exhaust manifold bolts. The exhaust manifold bolts are an Allen key. This one's a H8, so 8mm Allen bolt, and I'll just crack them all loose with my ratchet first, then zip them all down off with my electric, and then this manifold will be off. It's just that simple. So the owner tells me that this side was done not too long ago, and by the looks of the gasket and the mating surfaces, looks like he's telling the truth. So, which is good for me because it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of cleanup, at least not on this side. So, time to move over to the outboard side. All right, this side a little bit more cramped, but not so bad. I got this overflow reservoir that sits in this little thing right here. So you're just gonna, you know, pop it in, pop it out. As I'm struggling now for some reason, but anyway, it sits, yeah, like that. So you just kind of pop that out. He's missing the cap on his, so I'm just gonna set that there. Hopefully it doesn't spill all over the place while I'm working. And then same thing, I've got this hose, coolant hose, freshwater hose, whatever that is, that goes into that fitting. The same fitting I had on the other side that I've already taken off. My kit comes with new fittings and new plugs, but if yours doesn't, big crescent wrench or pipe wrench to pull that off, and then this is a 1/2-inch drive plug there to pull that off if you need to do that. I strongly suggest spend a little extra, get the hardware kit so you don't have to fuss around with it, because sometimes those can be stuck and corroded and damaged, and then it just creates a whole other set of issues. So for this one, I'm having problems positioning the camera, so I'm going to zip off the exhaust bolts on this side too with my handy dandy electric ratchet, and then yank that side out of there, and then we'll move on to cleaning the gasket surfaces on the engine, because that's really the only surface I need to clean. Since we're replacing the exhaust, we're replacing the risers, all those surfaces are going to be cleaned from the factory, so all I gotta do is clean the head off. So I'll move on to doing that. Hey guys, I want to take a second to talk to you about a product called Epic water filters. So I live within city limits, so I've got city water, which isn't the best. It's got a lot of chemicals in it, fluoride, chlorine, I don't know, whatever they put into it. And so it's very important to me that I filter my water out, and Epic water filters helps me do that. Epic water filters has a couple different options here. You've got your basic water pitcher, which is what you see here, and then they've also got a in-sink filter where you can use your a separate faucet on your sink, and a filter that's underneath of it, and it ties right into it. You just replace the filter so you don't have to take up the fridge space, which is actually really nice. But what sets Epic water filters apart from the rest of the water filters is their technology they use. Anti-fluoride technology. Their pitchers can replace up to 1,000 water bottles. Even just their packaging alone, their packaging is compostable and recyclable, so they're environmentally responsible. Not only that, but their proprietary technology eliminates up to 99% of harmful contaminants compared to other filters such as Brita and the rest of them. So I highly recommend you guys check this out. Epic water filters, epicwaterfilters.com, and try it out. If you want to try it out and purchase a pitcher, my product code is here on the screen. So let me know what you guys think. Check them out. We're gonna do, while I got the manifold off, is do the spark plugs. Since they're super easy to get to at this point, it makes no sense not to, and it's a cheap insurance, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Plus it gives me a little easier access to clean these when the spark plugs are off too. So I'm gonna swap all those out. I've got some the owner bought some NGKs for me here. These are pretty good plugs. I like these. So pre-gapped, everything's good to go. Clean, put them all in, done. All right, still working on getting these surfaces cleaned up. Hardest part is down here on the bottom edge of the manifold where it's been leaking, kind of rusted and crusted over. I'm getting down there with my razor blade scraper. This thing works really, really well. And then I've also got a drill with a pad on it here, an abrasive pad to kind of clean it up. So hard on this side because there's not a lot of space, so it's going to take a little bit of effort. The plugs and wires being out of the way helps, so I'm just going to keep at it until it's kind of nice and smooth with your finger and you don't feel any edges, and that should be good. Because if you put your gasket and manifold back on there with imperfections like that, it's only a matter of time before it just kind of blows out again. So I'm trying my best to make sure that's clean. Okay, got my new exhaust manifolds in here, ready to be bolted on. Brand new, powder coated, everything brand new, so that's look really good. They're mirror images of each other essentially, so really can't mess it up. These ones came with their own plugs. Obviously I'm going to take one of the plugs out on the back side of each one to get those fittings on the back, which is easy enough. My hardware kit came with new 90-degree fitting, so oh, that just fell out of that. That's not good. So pretty straightforward. New hardware, new gaskets, bolt it on, figure out what the torque spec is, torque it down, and then we'll go from there. I don't know where he got the pieces from yet. I'll ask him if I find out where he ordered everything from and how much it cost. I'll link it into the description so you guys can see that. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get started bolting it all back together. Rather than struggling to line the gasket manifold up with two hands and wishing you had a third, these gaskets come with a unique design where the end of them are like this, where there's not a full round. You got just a U shape on both ends. So what you can do is start the front and the rear bolt, just a couple threads, then you can slide the gasket down through the top of the manifold, set it on the bolts, and then screw the rest of them in. So it's pretty cool that they did that to make it a little easier for us to handle. Okay, so I just got the front and rear bolts in. Now, in theory, I should be able to just slide this down over the top of it if the valve cover is not going to get in the way. There we go. Like so. And then all we have to do is line the rest of the bolts up, tighten them down. Alright, just for reference, before I forget, the bolts for the exhaust to the head are about 24 foot-pounds. The bolts that go in from the riser to the exhaust, these long ones, are 18 foot-pounds. So make note of that. Or if you've got a calibrated elbow, you know, click, pop, that works too. Got that 90-degree fitting in the back of the exhaust manifold. Got the overflow tank back on here. Alright, and before I jump to the riser over there, since I haven't brought them from the bow yet, I'm going to go ahead and put the other side manifold on here in the same way I did that, except for it to be a lot easier because I have all this space to work with. So I won't bore you with the details. You guys basically saw me do it on that side, so I'm going to hurry and bolt that on, and then we'll move to the risers afterwards. Okay, so got that manifold torqued down. This one was just a bit different the way I did it. Dipstick's on this side, so you kind of have to fish the gasket in that way underneath the bracket for the dipstick and then drop it down, which is fine. It didn't require that much effort, so not a huge deal. I guess you could pull the bracket off if you wanted to, but it was just as easy to fish it in. So a little bit of thread sealant on the 90-degree fitting here, and then we're going to screw this in here and then tighten it down, and then we'll do the same thing for that plug there. Then we'll do the risers. Alright, so I'm getting ready to put the exhaust elbows or risers or whatever you guys call them on here. It comes with these gaskets. These gaskets are sort of unique. They've got an opening on one side and it's blocking off the port on the other side. And so I've got this little diagram here that the manufacturer of the part sent, and it says front, back. So this can either mean front of the engine, back of the engine, or this can mean front of the boat, back of the boat. Which one is it? So the way to tell where that hole needs to be is where your water is being plumbed into. So since your water is being plumbed on the back of the engine up to here, you need that port to be here. If this wasn't plugged and the elbow was here, then the port would be on that side. So a little bit of a tech tip, I guess. All right, sometimes these can be tight getting back on. This one's giving me a hard time, so I'm using a little bit of a mechanical advantage here. Ratchet strap around it, around the T here, around the riser. Crank it down, and then give it a little tug back and forth, and it slowly work its way onto it. It takes a little bit of time, but eventually it'll go. Okay, I don't have much battery life, so I'll make it quick. I got everything back together there. The last bit of that was just tightening down all those hose clamps and doing a leak check, which is what I'm gonna do now. I already started and ran the engine, so I kind of cheated, but so when the engine's sitting there warming up, idling, the water leak checks you're going to look for are these fittings back here in the back, those 90-degree elbows. Put your hand under there, make sure they're not wet. All your clamps up here at the T fitting, the other side, and then all your hoses here, check underneath it. Okay, sorry, my battery died. So that's pretty much it. If you guys like what I do on the channel, please consider subscribing, and every once in a while, I don't know, hit that like button for me. We'll see you guys in the next one.